and they have to practice every day into their scales and things like that. That can be really boring for kids, and also it's not connected to like just making music. And some people learn that way and eventually get to a place where, because they practice so hard, they can make really good music. But I think there are other people that it's better to just let them try to make music, and eventually learn the right forms down the road. I think a lot of people disagree about this concept, but I know for me, I probably wouldn't have stuck with it if I had to start by learning a language. I needed to build things and have the joy of building first. And that was motivation then to learn how things worked.
Okay.
So
tell me a little bit about your business. Like, I know you run a programming business, but what all, like, I know you were talking about a new client that you were working with, a school-based like application or something like that. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay, so I run a small one-person studio, web development studio called Hybrid, and I do something that is pretty atypical. Most people don't do what I do. I mostly do long-term fractional contracts with small businesses and nonprofits. So what that means is most people, either work a full-time job with a company, or if they work independently, they'll either be a full-time contractor, so they'll work 40 hours a week for one company, and they're essentially like an employee, except they don't get benefits and things like that. So there's full-time contractors, and then there's people that do freelance project-based work. So a company hires an agency to come in and build a website or an application for them, or build out some new feature set, and it's temporary. It's like 3 months. They have a team that comes in, builds the thing, and then leaves. So usually it's one of those two things if you're not an employee. What I do is different. So what I do is I will find organizations that have ongoing programming needs, web development needs, but maybe don't need someone full time. And I'll take just kind of a slice of a week, think about a fraction. So a fractional role means instead of working 40 hours for one company, I'll work 10 to 15 for this company, but I'll also work 10 to 15 for this other company. And so I'm usually juggling 2 to 4 clients at a time, and trying to provide value to them over a long period of time. What that does is it helps clients that either have budget constraints where they couldn't pay a developer at my experience level full time, or they have ongoing needs that aren't so significant that they need a whole team. They really could get away with just a person that works part-time, basically. I don't like to think of myself as being part-time, because to me that communicates not invested in the business or in the client, and I am. That's, I think, something that I bring to the table for my clients, is that I really care about their business. I'm thinking hard about it. It's usually not just a short-term commitment to them. I'm trying to think about how I can produce a lot of value for them. So to me, I am invested just at a fractional level in terms of the time commitment. So it works for some clients. There are a lot of clients it would not work for. So I usually am focused on, so clients that need this kind of thing would be, let's say, companies where they have a Rails application that is already running, but maybe they don't have a team anymore, and they need it maintained. They need it to stay up to date. They need to address customer support issues. They need to keep security and maintenance upgrades going. They need the occasional feature added. That's a good example of a client that would work well. Or someone that's building like a startup, but like sort of not like they don't have like a huge amount of investment, so they're building something and maybe kind of slow, but they can't really necessarily afford someone full time, but I can come in and help them build something over a year or two, something like that, to get to a place where they can demo an app or build up a set of customers where they can either go back and raise more investment or can get enough paying customers to kind of move on to their next phase. So a lot of times I'm working with companies that are maybe in a transition where they need more than nothing. The app, the things that they're doing require someone to be there, but they aren't at a place where they need a full-timer. And that's a weird spot to be in. There's this weird gap there where they need someone at a fractional capacity. And so that's usually what I'm doing. So right now I have 2 main contracts like that. I have a couple other clients that need occasional help, and I'm starting to look at bringing on a third client. And one of the main ways that I bring in clients is either through people I know, my own network. That's usually how it happens. But I'm also trying to do more technical blogging. So blogging is one of the best ways for developers to find new work, because a lot of my work is reading technical blogs to understand how other people solve programming problems, particularly for me in Rails, Ruby, Rails,
right.
The other tools I'm using. So I write blog posts related to that because I know that other Ruby and Rails developers will read my blogs, and might eventually lead me to finding other work. So that's a pretty common approach. It's kind of like, even though it's writing, it's really kind of like sales. You are sharing your knowledge with the larger programming community. People will find you online, and eventually that might lead to you getting new work, or at least them emailing you or checking in with you and that kind of thing. So I'm doing more of that to do like what they call lead generation.